Hey, it's Bill. So, once again, another week of cold weather. I don't know how many weeks we've been doing this for, making soup. In fact, we had accumulation of snow up in Tallahassee. It's like 10 inches, 10 feet, I don't know. But they're waiting, it's like literally taking like 4 days for it to go away, to thaw. That's like incredible. So this soup, I'm sure I've made it before, but I kind of want to tell you a little history. Is that at some point when I was fairly young, teenager, gone to this fancy French restaurant, Lobster Bisque, and they had Lobster Bisque, and I'm like, I like lobster, why wouldn't I like Lobster Bisque? Well, I was a little overwhelmed by all the sherry, and once again it gets back to that same thing, you know, don't use what you want to drink. And I'm sure it was high quality sherry, it was a very fancy restaurant. And it's kind of funny because the thing I remember most was there were a whole bunch of us, a couple families, and everyone at the end kind of startled by the bill. And you know, credit cards didn't used to be real common. You actually like wrote checks and stuff, but they're all like sitting there debating about the tip. I thought that was pretty funny. That was my first exposure to understanding what tipping was. All right, except for tipping cows. So here we start. I got a stick of butter. I got it all melted, and I have a whole onion, nice sweet onion. I'm going to put in here. And everything's really cold because my house is cold. You can't usually say that in Florida. It's so weird that like the air's not running all the time. Like I haven't had the air conditioner on like in months, I think. So what we really want to do, because this is a bisque, is we want to really get this onion really cooked down, because once we get the onion cooked, it's like boom and it's done. Okay. This is a whole onion, you know, normal size onion, and if you cut it too big or you just find like it's not cooking down the way you're happy with, that's when I get out the immersion blender. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't, and we'll know here in a minute. Onions sizzling up real well. And this has been a good opportunity for me to do this whole thing on soups, and I've thrown a couple things in between, but my main focus was soups. So I'm making soup all the time, which is really great because it's a great thing to have. Big pot of soup in the fridge and ladle some up, microwave it, and you got dinner. Okay. And there's so many things you can have with it. Actually going to go old school with this tonight. I'm going to make a quiche, and I'm going to go crazy with it because I love quiche, and I like anything, you know, jalapenos, black olives, spinach, you know, just go crazy. So don't forget to check out my quiche recipe. I'll link it, but just in case. The other thing that came up, we were talking about at work, actually, Lobster Bisque. As I said I was going to make it, and everyone's like, "Oh, can I have some?" I'm like, "You pay me." But the irony to it is that I had to do some research because the grocery store was having a sale on langostinos, and I'm like, "What are those?" Because I've heard that before. I know like Red Lobster advertises it. And you know, it's like this subspecies of like, I don't depending on where it comes from, crabs or I guess it's Spanish for little lobster or something. But the tail meat's supposed to be very similar. It's little bite-sized things, they're not very big, to lobster meat. And some restaurant chain got in trouble for substituting without telling you, and it was a Mexican restaurant. But I thought, oh, I'll try it. Let's just do an experiment. Well, of course, when something's on sale, they have like, 5 boxes, so the first 5 people get it and no one else has it. But I will do further investigation and let you know. So like I said, I'm really want to, people are like, can't you just speed this up? Actually, my daughter complained about it. I'm like, no, because if people think that I cook it for 20 seconds, they're missing the boat. Of course, if you just look at the recipe, I think that's what you guys do. All right. Yum, yum. So I'm really debating. I think my next soup is going to be split pea. Does that sound good? Yeah, always sounds good. This smells pretty good, okay? I'm pretty happy. So I might take a little black pepper while I'm waiting. 10 complete spins. So that's about 20 half spins, because when you do this, you're going to do about half, right? I think I'm running out. And you want this pretty fine. I used to keep another grinder full of white pepper just for this kind of stuff, but ugh, man, this thing's old. Old as dirt, they say. Yeah, I hear the last few little peppers in there, peppercorns in there. I don't know, I like pepper for some reason. It's good food. It should be its own food group. I heard sometime years ago that pepper, we only eat in very small quantities, but it can actually be poisonous in large quantities. And like, what would you have to do? Like, eat a pound of peppercorns? Okay. I got this. Definitely. They're softened. I just want to get them to the next stage. Should be just another minute. Turn it down here a little bit. It's going a little crazy in here. Actually, thank you. Onion. Yes, everything starts with onion. Well, in my kitchen. Yep. I think that's how it's going to look. And I hate dragging out the immersion blender for no reason, so it took me 10 extra seconds to cut the onion a little smaller to prevent me from having to get out the immersion blender. Oh yeah. We definitely got color to the onion. So, now we gotta start the roux. So this is a little different than normally what I would do, but it's just a bisque is gonna come out a little more together, a little thicker, a little smoother. So really hard for me. I actually had to measure because I was like, my brain was like going, that doesn't sound right. But it's 3/4 cup of flour. So I got my little whiskey here. I mean whisk, I'm sorry, I don't drink whiskey in the morning. Boom. And just starting the edges, work it around. Push it around. Remember, like I always said, you want to cook it for about a minute. Still a lot of heat in here, so that shouldn't be a problem. Yep. And it's funny when you're using this much, like 3/4 cup of flour, I can tell you can really smell the flour. Really reminds me why we do need to cook it a little bit. It looks and smells so good. Keep it simple. Getting the onion nice and mushy, because it really got to a caramelized stage. It turned color, kind of browned a little bit, which is good. Like I said, that way I don't have to drag out the immersion blender. Alright, so now, remember, we slowly add everything. So, I got 2 cups. This is chicken stock. It'll work absolutely just fine. Oh, maybe I'm a little tough. It'll cool down. Maybe that room temperature stuff can really drop. So it really, once we start getting it pasty, remember that paste glue used in school when you were a kid that everyone ate because you were hungry? Oh yeah. Good paste consistency. Now I know that we got a good consistency on it. Pour that in. I'm gonna switch gears. Back to my spoon here. Just need all that maximum cooking efficiency, thickening power. So it's funny. It's almost like mashed potatoes that you overbeat, so there's a lot of gluten in it. Or whipped. You whip your potatoes. Whip it good. Whip it into shape. Okay. So, here goes the fun part. I got 3/4 cup of dry sherry. I'm going to turn it down here because I really don't want it too hot. I just want to mix this. So I got a nice smooth roux. It's beautiful. Mixing it very carefully. So it's funny, this is a very simplistic recipe. I mean, how much simpler can you get than these few ingredients? And really, the only prep was measuring stuff and cutting onion. This makes a very kind of fancy thing you could always do for Valentine's Day, which is going to be coming up here before you know it. Press your date, your significant other. Alright, let's turn this down. So now, I'm going to get the fridge. I got 3 cups of half and half. Ooh. We've done all the thickening. This is just going to take some mixing. So once again, we're going to just let it warm up nice and gentle. Oh, that cold liquid in there shocks it. We're going to get it right back to temperature. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Henry the Rabbit's revolting. He just threw his food dish. A few months ago he actually broke one. Attitude. Okay. So we just want to be careful because we're trying to really get all this half and half really mixed in here well. It's past room temperature, but it's not hot yet. So we just need to keep kind of stirring. This is where you have to kind of watch the pot. You don't want to boil it all up. It's coming to temperature pretty quick. So it has this really kind of ugly cream of mushrooms, canned cream of mushroom soup color to it, which is not what bisque should be. Plus we want to add a little acid. So I need about 3 tablespoons of tomato paste, and we're going to do this kind of more eyeball. Sometimes I have to add more just to make it look. So that's about 3 tablespoons. I can tell the heat of the soup by how the tomato paste starts to melt into it. Turn it up just a little bit. So you really want to try and achieve this like kind of pretty pink color. Like I said, I probably like a little more tomato because I really want some of that acid in here to cut the heaviness of it. The paste is now all mixed in, and it's a very gentle kind of pink. It's not consistency is perfect though. This is beautiful. Last little bit of paste, tomato paste is melting. It's melting. And just a little more red. Of course I left some behind, so another 2 tablespoons probably. Count what's on the spoon because I can't get it off, but sure it's enough. There we go. Beautiful. So we really want to handle the roux as carefully as possible because bisque is going to give you a little more kind of thickness. I mean, it's really hanging on the spoon there. And you really want to get that feeling of the tomato paste and the sherry, and don't be shy with the sherry. I'm kind of thinking before it's all said and done I'm going to be throwing just a little bit more in here. This is like a really kind of gradual heat up. Okay, so we're at this point. I've got this really great. There are some pieces of onion in here, so like I said, at this time you could get the boat motor and just quickly do a little zip through it. I'm not too concerned for myself. But if I were making this for Julia Childs, I would make sure it was perfect. We got this really pretty color right now. I mean, just the color is just like absolutely. Okay, so what's left? How about some lobster? So I feel that to give it the right consistency, lobster tail meat is what you want. This is cold water, you know, New England lobster, whatever style that is. And I have 4 tails because I really want to go crazy. Make sure it's got enough lobster in it for everybody. Try to get as much water out of there as I could. Back to stirring. The pot's hot. The lobster's in pretty small chunks. You know, smaller than like a chowder. I want to make sure I can taste it. So, you know, some places kind of go a little crazy. If you cut it up too small into unrecognizable pieces or things you can't taste or feel because texture has a lot to do with it, you've kind of missed the boat. And believe it or not, it's hot enough that this lobster's cooking pretty fast. Alright, so while I'm doing this, I go to my fridge and get just a little more sherry. I'm going to start with just a little 1/4 cup. My stomach's gurgling and growling just like looking at this stuff and tasting it. Used to go to a restaurant, they had this conch chowder and they just put a bottle of sherry on the table so you could add your own. Don't go with any Lushes, man, because they finish that bottle right off. They're pouring in their water glasses. Oh, this is beautiful. And you can see that's really coating. Really good coating on the spoon. I mean, that's like perfect. Big raindrops coming off. The spoon's never going to be clear. And when I swipe it, it stays clear. Oh yeah. Color, taste, everything's perfect. I don't see any streaks. When the tomato paste is first breaking down, it'll sometimes be kind of in streaks. You don't want to be dishing that up. So the lobster meat, it's like shrimp, you know, it turns pink. And it's done. I'm just doing my final inspection. I want to make sure we got a good consistency, everything looks pretty. I'm going to turn it off. Just want to stir it for a minute so it doesn't. Oh, it's just beautiful. Couldn't ask for more. Man. I'm gonna have to sell this stuff. Now you really get to see it. So I always want to start with getting a good bit of soup. So just stop making a mess. In the bottom. This is rich, so you're not going to eat like a ton of it. And then make sure we get some of those lobster chunks. So let me tell you, it's beautiful. It's the right color. It's got this kind of red peach hue to it. It's absolutely fabulous. I mean, this is, like I said, very little prep, not a lot of ingredients, but something that people are going to go, you made this? You can't boil water. How did you make this? But it was really easy. So anyway, please try it. Like I said, St. Valentine's Day is coming. Valentine's Day, skip the flowers, the cards, go right for the gusto. Because, you know, the cost of flowers would buy you some lobster tails. Did a whole thing where they were on sale at BOGO or something, so I had like a freezer full of them. It's the way to do it. But I am telling you, that's it. So remember one thing only. Make sure you're subscribed. Get one of your friends to subscribe. Make sure you're watching my videos. And enjoy life with better food. Have a great day, and I'll see you later.